Hey everyone, welcome. It's 10:10. I know it's been a long time, but I have a new book called Cryogenics Reaching for Tomorrow. And I'm showing my face because, why not? And this is about the Alcor Life Extension Foundation. And if some of you follow RadX on his channel, talks about Alcor, the Alcor star. And it's so interesting because I'm pretty sure one of this is Alcor star and why they picked that. And when I was reading the Anunnaki book, it talked about how like the avatars for the Anunnaki come here to this planet and their bodies are in like pods or whatever, so they're able to like come here without having their bodies come here. So I'm wondering if there's a correlation to this in particular. So I'm going to just start reading this for Rat because he's done so much for me. So just depends on who's willing and wanting to know more about cryogenics and how it could play a role in why some of us are here. Okay? Chapter 1, A New Medical Imperative. The time is now. A man has suffered a heart attack, deprived of its vital blood supply. A part of his heart is dying. The failing muscle no longer pumps an adequate amount of blood, and a catastrophic downward spiral begins. In another city, an 83-year-old woman lies nearly motionless in her nursing home bed. Advanced age, complicated by pneumonia, is about to stop her heart. Across town, a man has just entered an emergency room with a massive system-wide infection. AIDS has left his body ravaged by multiple diseased organisms. For most people, these circumstances would herald the end of life. For tens of thousands who lie in similar conditions in hospitals and nursing homes around the world, death is but hours or minutes away. Today's medicine is powerless to repair the damage done by their bodies by disease or trauma. All it can do is give up and wait to pronounce such patients dead. But these three people are not the staff of statistics in the next day's newspapers. Long before their illnesses or injuries put them in the hospital, they had the foresight to understand the physicians in the decades to come would not consider their condition terminal at all. The medical terminology for the failure would be to reverse the damage of their bodies. The elderly woman dying of pneumonia, the middle-aged heart attack victim, and the immunocompromised aged patient each had the courage, vision, and initiative to provide the cryogenic suspension while they were still healthy and able to do so. While their contemporaries will abandon the face of obstacles that today's medicine cannot overcome, these three people will continue to be cared for. As a consequence, they will have a priceless opportunity, the chance to reach tomorrow's medicine. As each of these three patients slides into a deepening coma, physicians decide that they can no longer keep him or her alive. Breathing and heartbeat cease. The heart attack patient is vigorously resuscitated, but today's medicine cannot restore him to life. The elderly woman and the AIDS patient are allowed to slip into cardiac arrest quietly. Their physicians decided long ago the resuscitation would be pointless, since they are powerless to reverse the undying diseases, or the underlying diseases, advanced age and AIDS. As soon as a heartbeat and breathing cease, a transport team from the Alcor Life Extension Foundation takes over the care of each patient. Circulation and breathing are artificially restored, and the patients are cooled and transported to Alcor's facilities. The patients are treated with drugs to minimize freezing, injury, and are then further cooled to the boiling point of liquid nitrogen. The AIDS patient and the heart attack victim arranged to have their entire bodies placed into suspension. The elderly woman has elected to have only her brain within her head suspended. Unconscious and unchanging, these three patients wait with others who have chosen this daring option. Medical progress continues, and there is growing understanding of and control over the living world. By the end of the 21st century, medicine becomes a science fully capable of healing and resuscitation at the level of the cell. Healthcare finally matures into the technology capable of the prevention and treatment of all major diseases and injuries, including the changes which occur with aging. Infinite youth and health are the birthright of every person. Human lifespans are open-ended and are measured in terms of centuries instead of decades. Each of the three people in suspension is removed from the protective cryogenic environment. First, the freezing-induced damage and the age-associated deterioration are repaired. The damaged organs and tissues of the AIDS patients and the heart attack victim, whose whole bodies are suspended, are repaired and replaced, and they are restored to a youthful, healthy condition. The elderly woman neurosuspension patient is kept in an unconscious state while a youthful body begins to regenerate from her brain under carefully controlled conditions. When the patients awake, nothing about them is time ravaged. They have their faces and bodies of teenagers. Their skin is smooth and unwrinkled. Their minds are clearer and more active than ever when they were during their first youth. The memories and personalities of each person are complete and unchanged. They are essentially the same people they were. The only difference is that they are again alive, healthy, and ready to face the challenges of an exciting new world. Who are these three people? Is their story merely science fiction or wishful fantasy? We think not. We are the members of the Alcor Life Extension Foundation. They share in Alcor's vision of a technology with the potential to treat almost any terminal condition, a future medical technology of such power that it can profoundly affect our lives today. This book is about that technology and about the revolution in prognosis it implies for most of today's hopeless patients. In the pages ahead, a seamlessly fantastic proposal will be made that by virtue of future medical capabilities, present medicine may have to lose almost no one. And again, the reason why I'm reading this is because Alcor is the star that Brad and I found at the portal in Utah. Yep. And he went there to Arizona, in Scottsdale, to the Alcor Foundation. And it talks about cryogenics. And then, obviously, I'm reiterating what I talked about before. When I read the book about the Anunnaki, it talked about how the Anunnaki would have like avatars and come to this planet. So, it might not be far from the truth. Now, saying there's three people. Now, Rad and I have had numerous conversations on this. All right, so I'm going to read the second chapter also. It's not. Okay, yeah. Cryogenics Reaching for Tomorrow, Chapter 2. Tomorrow's medicine. What will be the capabilities of tomorrow's medicine? What is medicine's ultimate potential for healing the human body? In order to answer these questions, we must inquire into the nature and basis of life. According to modern medical understanding, our cells and everything else in the universe are made up of complex assemblies of interchangeable components called atoms. The arrangement of the atoms in our cells and of the cells in our bodies determines who we are. In fact, the arrangement of the atoms in our bodies determines not only who we are, but how we feel, whether we are sick or well, and finally, whether we are alive or dead. This understanding opens up some very powerful and exciting possibilities. If the difference between disease and health reduces to the differences in the arrangement of the atoms, which makes us up, then the corollary is, if we have or can develop the ability to manipulate atoms purposefully, we have a technology that is in principle capable of eliminating disease and maintaining perfect health indefinitely. Can such a technology exist? The answer is a qualified yes. We and a plethora of living things around us are the products of enormously complex machines called cells. Machines capable of grasping and manipulating atoms and groups of atoms, molecules, and constructing incredibly complicated and diverse structures from them, such as people, whales, and redwood trees. In principle, there is no reason why we should not be able to learn the technologies or the techniques by which cells operate and even eventually bend them to our own purposes. A new kind of medicine. Medicine today cannot directly heal patients. Rather, it attempts to create conditions in which patients can heal themselves. When natural healing and repair processes become inadequate for reversal of disease or injury, present medicine is helpless, as the wheelchairs, nursing homes, and graveyards all around us grimly testify. Today's physicians can crudely mention an injury, surgery, or indirectly prod diseased tissue in the direction of health, drug therapy, but they cannot repair or replace living individual cells, let alone damage cell components. By contrast, tomorrow's medicine will operate at the level of the fundamental building blocks that comprise our cells. Medical tools are complicated as whole cells, or even more complicated, will give medicine unprecedented control over biological processes at the molecular level. As a consequence, medicine will have complete control over cell division and tissue growth and development. The limitations imposed by natural healing and repair processes will not be obstacles to such a technology. With properly programmed repair or replacement of tissue in diseased organs or at the wound sites, even the most severe crippling and disfiguring injuries could heal as if they had never occurred. The first stirrings of this level of control over living systems are already present in today's headlines. Genetic engineers are beginning to learn how to recombine the programming instructions, DNA, from different forms of life to produce fundamentally new kinds of organisms and drugs for treating diseases and augmenting health. Today we have diabetics using human insulin produced by engineered bacteria, and viruses being reprogrammed to reverse genetic defects in adults. And yet, this redesign of natural organisms is only a harbinger of the power of tomorrow's medicine. Cell repair technology. It seems reasonable to expect that artificial cells designed for medical purposes should, at a minimum, do anything that natural cells and microorganisms do today. This would include the ability to roam through injured tissues, tracking biochemical clues to trouble like white blood cells do, to enter cell interiors and modify cell components in complex ways as viruses do, and to manipulate individual cell molecules to perform complex repairs as natural cell repair enzymes do. But beyond these abilities, there lies another ability not to see in natural cells and microorganisms that future and engineered cells will likely possess, the ability to process vast quantities of information. Computing technology is now entering a new era of miniaturization as engineers begin to design and assemble computers employing molecule-scale components. At the limits of this technology lie entire computers that will be smaller than cells and yet have the computing capacity of today's large mainframes. Future medical microorganisms. Incorporating these molecular scale computers or nanocomputers as part of their structure will be able to perform extremely sophisticated biological repairs. Since these artificial organisms will be so unlike any in nature today, we will probably think of them as microscopic machines rather than organisms. We could call them cell repair devices. The medical implications of cell repair devices are vast and beyond reckoning. Infectious disease, cancer, arteriosclerosis, all could be completely eliminated. Even the aging process could be prevented or reversed by a technology capable of repairing cells at the molecular level, thus opening the door to virtually unlimited, healthy lifespans for all who survive to see this technology developed. Implications for today. But what do such advanced and distant medical capabilities have to do with us today? As the capabilities of tomorrow's medicine come into clearer view, a profound contemporary implication suggests itself: the possibility that the medicine of the future may be able to benefit the persons of today. This possibility exists because it's the nature of tomorrow's medicine. If tomorrow's medicine will be able to repair tissue molecule by molecule, then it will be able to reverse injuries far more severe than any that medicine can treat today. The ultimate limit of future medicine will likely be the ability to recover any patient retaining the brain structure which encodes memory and personality. In other words, future medical technology may be well able to recover anyone whose identity structures remain. This is an important observation because there is now solid evidence that low temperature preservation, by any means available right now, can preserve the fine structures of the human brain indefinitely. Low temperature preservation may therefore be a way for today's terminally ill patients to reach tomorrow's medicine. A door to the future. The application of low temperature preservation technology to terminal patients today is called cryonic suspension. The goal of cryonic suspension and the technology of cryogenics and cryonics is the transport of today's terminal patients to the time in the future when cell repair technology is available and restoration to full function and health is possible, a time when freezing damage is a fully reversible injury and cures exist for virtually all of today's diseases, including aging. The Alcor Life Extension Foundation. In 1972, a group of individuals, C-Box, we will, drew together a common goal. Determined to see rather than just imagine humanity's future, they sought to establish a means for reaching it. The result was Alcor Life Extension Foundation, an organization dedicated to the aggressive development and deployment of medical time travel technology. The capability to seek the cures for presently incurable illnesses in the medical technology of the future. Since then, Alcor has grown to become the world's largest and most capable provider of cryonic suspension services. This book is an introduction to the scientific basis and contemporary practice of cryonic suspension, perhaps the most powerful yet overlooked life-saving technology that has ever existed. So this is just like a picture of the founders. The founders of Alcor. Alcor was incorporated in February 1972 by Fred and Linda Chamberlain. Both had been involved for several years already in the newly arisen cryonics movement. Both felt the need for an organization combining integrity and sound physical principle with the most rational possible approach to cryonic preservation. As an addition factor, Fred wished to preserve his ailing father when the time came. In 1976, Fred's father became the first Alcor patient. In 1990, Linda's mother, too, would become a patient. Over the years, as Alcor grew into the largest cryonics organization with an international membership, the Chamberlains continued their interest and involvement. Their contributions, too numerous to catalog here, included helping develop an improved perfusion system, hosting cryonics conferences and other promotional activities, and assisting with numerous bookkeeping chores, all with little compensation beyond the satisfaction of helping to make their ideas work. Currently, Fred serves on the board of directors of Alcor, and Linda is the chairperson of the Financial Investments Committee. Both are continuing the dedicated service they had always given freely in Alcor. And that is the end of chapters 1 and 2. And there's the book. It all started in 1972. All right, take care, everyone.